Of note, this was pre-recorded early in the NFL football season. Welcome to Running is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Weta L. Brown. I inspire and promote movement. I explain how running adds to life from a mental wholeness aspect, how obstacles can be overcome in life to make it to your finish line. Welcome to Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, episode 3. Today we have my special friend Samantha Danielle joining us today. After graduating from East Carolina University School of Nursing, Samantha Danielle pursued a Master in Business Administration with a concentration in healthcare management. Her goal of becoming a pediatric hospital administrator was deferred when she fell in love with wedding planning. While living in Durham, North Carolina, she opened Bliss by Sam, BBS, Weddings and Occasions in 2005. She then moved herself and the firm to Chicago in 2012. As a planner, Samantha recognized the importance of champagne within the wedding industry. The drink itself and the region of Champagne, France, became a passion of hers. She decided to close BBS in 2018 and is now pursuing certification as a Master's of Champagne through the Wine Scholar Guild. Samantha resides in Chicago, Illinois, and her friends say she is like a tourist. She loves all things Chicago, even the Chicago Bears, which is her number 2 team. Her favorite places are Soho House and Millennium Park. She also enjoys attending church. We actually go to the same church fellowship. She enjoys cheering for the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, and traveling internationally. I have known Samantha for over 5 years. She is my soror. We are both members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She is a friend and a fellow football fanatic. Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, the podcast, is about my love of running and other sports. It is also about my passions. And I am passionate about football. While I don't play, I am one of the biggest spectators ever. No, I don't play fantasy football, but I not only love my team, and my team is the Philadelphia Eagles, I love football. While I pride myself of being a football fanatic, my friend Samantha may be a close second, although she chose the wrong team. Today we will talk about the best spectator sport there is, football. Welcome, Samantha Danielle. Let's start with, why do you love football?
I love football because when I first started watching football, which was in 1995, the guy I was dating at the time was a Dallas Cowboys fan. And so that's probably going to be one of your questions. But before we get all the way into that, I would just say that that was such an exciting time, I think, in football. So that's where I started to, really love the game, learn the, players, positions and stuff like that. And so I think I just love football because it's exciting to me.
So, how long were you with this young man in 1995 for you to love football and the Cowboys? Experience.
We dated on and off for about 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell everyone that's why he came into my life. Everything for a reason and a season. So his season is over, but his reason definitely was to make me a fan of America's team and the greatest team on earth.
Oh, goodness. Were you living in North Carolina then?
Yeah. So I was in North Carolina. I was in undergrad. And so now people fail to remember, not anymore, But kind of at that time, the Panthers were like a fairly new team. So in
Hmm.
North Carolina, a lot of North Carolinians are either Redskins fans or Cowboys fans because the Cowboys and the Steelers, as you know, were the teams that were on TV. And so that's why even both of those teams have a lot of fans, across the world because they were able to get television time. And then when I was living in North Carolina, I always said the Panthers was my number two team.
Hmm.
And but since I moved to Chicago, I made the Bears my number two team. So it's kind of like Cowboys will always be number one, and then wherever I live will be number two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, how I fell in love with football, like you mentioned, Steelers and the Cowboys were got national coverage because I grew up in Mississippi, and my grandfather was a diehard Cowboys fan, and my dad was a diehard Steelers fan, and they used to argue on Sunday. That was my first recollection of football. And I at the time, I mean, I really was a casual fan. I went with just with my dad and the Steelers, but I really didn't pay attention to football when I was growing up. I really started loving football when I was in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I did a sports medicine fellowship and I had to cover teams. Football, college football, high school football. And I had to stand on the sidelines and I had to pay attention to see if my athletes got hurt and pay attention so I wouldn't get hit by a football or somebody running to the sideline. So I started asking the trainer, I'm like, what does this mean? Like, what are they doing? I
Okay.
really understood the basics, you know, touchdown, field goal, the
Okay.
points. I didn't understand anything else, but he explained to me actually what football meant and then talking to the players as well.
Yeah.
I became a Eagles fan because Philadelphia is like a diehard sports fan city.
Hmm.
Chicago is. I think Philadelphia is more so.
I think so too.
They're crazy, especially when, at the old stadium. They say they used to have a court in a jail. I don't know if that's true or not, because it used to get a little rowdy, especially when
Hmm.
they played the Cowboys. So
Yeah.
that's how I became a diehard football and Eagles fan. And Michael Vick actually stayed in my building when I lived in Philly, and he was the
Fan.
coolest guy. When I ran into him in the elevator, he actually used to entertain my little elevator talk. And he actually signed a jersey that I had for a silent auction that when I was raising money for breast cancer, which was
Okay.
the highest, I got the most funds from his jersey. So
Yeah, for sure.
I will always be a big fan,
Hmm.
I'll always be an Eagles fan. And mainly it was because of him
Yeah.
in this the city.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's funny that you mentioned like the sports medicine because now I remember I probably had a base of loving football even before, I started dating that guy because in high school, to your point, I took a sports medicine class
Hmm.
and I was assigned to the football team. And
Okay.
I remember it was me and another girl named Charity. And the biggest thing was like we were in high school. So of course, like when we went to away games, we had to like ride in the front of the
Hmm.
bus.
Hmm.
Can't be having no mess. But to your point, I do remember kind of getting like the basics of the game. And it was cute. Like if one of the players would get hurt, like we would run out there. I had no clue what we were doing. But it was cute to kind of like run out on the field and be like, "You okay?" And there are a lot of times they was faking and would just get right on up. But yeah, yeah. And I remember, sometimes people ask you like if you weren't doing what you were doing, what would you want to be doing? And one of my answers is always I would love to be like a NFL sports physician, like their game day physician. I would love to do
You
that.
want to be a game day?
Yeah. I think that's fun. I think there is one woman who does it, right? From Miami.
There are actually a lot. The Redskins head physician is a female. When
Okay.
Alex Smith had his horrible injury,
Yeah.
she helped basically mend him, and now he can play again. And from the special, I haven't seen the special. I just saw clips of
Okay.
talk about his injury was like a wartime injury. It was so bad, his
Yeah.
fracture.
Yeah. For sure. I think there's one for the Dolphins too, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, that would be that in another life for sure.
Why do you love football so much? And just you're more than a average casual fan. And some people, I don't know, think women don't really know football. It's
Yeah.
to me when I run into people at bars and stuff, and they look
Yeah, for
at me
sure.
when I actually know what I'm talking about. Um, what makes you love the game so much?
This is a good question because I'm kind of thinking about it from the perspective of like, why do I love it more than something else, right? Because we already talked about, like, I think it's exciting. I, for me, football, because there's just so many different plays that you can run, right? There's just so many options. You never know what they're gonna do. And I hope basketball fans don't kill me. But to me, at the end of the day, I know there's kind of like different setups for basketball, and it's probably way more intricate than I understand. But to me, it's like you running up and down the court to you put the ball in the basket. You're gonna set it up.
I agree.
Like, I would love to see a playbook for the Dallas Cowboys versus the Dallas Mavericks. Just number of pages. I'm just curious. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
I know what you're saying. The
so
X's
many
and O's
plays.
probably just totally different.
Yeah, and it's so many different positions. Like I was watching the game last night for Thursday night football, and a position that you don't see often, fullback. There's not a lot of fullbacks in the league, and when they said fullback last night, I was like, oh yeah. And I think that's just based on like the way the game is changing, how they're using the different positions and stuff. But there's so many, and then you have like coaches for all those positions. So it's like the head coach, quarterback coach, wide receivers coach. Like every position also has a coach. And then, the O line, D line. I think just because there's so many moving parts, it makes it interesting. And so, yeah, I think that's why I love it more than I probably love like other sports. They just don't seem to be as complicated as football to me. And I think that's what I love about it is, at the end of the day, there's so many different ways to get to those 6 points.
I agree.
Yeah,
And
and that's what I
I
love
agree
about
with
it.
you.
Yeah.
And I like it because it's the ultimate team sport.
Hmm.
Like now we have no idea who's gonna win the Super Bowl. I mean, people had their predictions, of course they
Yeah.
always beginning of the year. But with basketball, maybe not so much this year, but you kind of know who's gonna basically make it. At least two teams. You know who's gonna make it. It's like the
Yeah.
team with the best players usually wins in basketball.
Yeah.
Football, I mean, you gotta have a quarterback, but it's more like it's the ultimate team sport. You gotta have a quarterback has to have somebody to throw to. You gotta have good
Mhm.
coaching. And then like in the wintertime, the playoffs, you gotta have a good running game. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like you said, so many moving
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
And I like the history too. Not that basketball or baseball. I mean, I love watching like old games from back in the
Mhm.
day. So I just love the history and just different teams. I went to the Hall of Fame and this one guy was like, well, there's not that much Eagle stuff in there. I'm like, I like football. I don't just like, I'm not just like a fan of a team.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
So,
And then
go ahead.
now I was gonna say, and to your point too, as far as like it being an ultimate team sport and just not being like so back to back as far as championships. I mean, it happens, but you're right because if you look at like the rings the Cowboys have, it's like across different years. Same things with the Steelers, right? Like it's across different years, but in basketball, somebody can definitely make a run of it, like the Golden States, right? Like the Lakers, the Celtics. It's just like back to back. The Bulls, right? The '90s was for the Bulls. It was
They
just
had
like
Jordan. Yeah, because they
your
had Jordan.
point.
And when they had a team too, but they had Jordan.
Yeah, right. But to your point, it was just like back to back to back. Those 3 peats. And has anybody ever three-peated in football?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You even think about the dynasty of football. You think about the Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots still.
I mean, even though they were good with Brady and Belichick, it wasn't a given that they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. And then when they made it, wasn't a given that they're going to win. That's why I'm not a Giants fan, but I appreciate
the
Patriots.
I will always be an Odell fan. Do you hear me?
And I will never forget Super Bowl in 2008 where I was going to turn off the television because I'm like, they were going to win. And I'm so glad I watched the end of the game.
Yeah. Always.
Anyway. So you play fantasy football?
I do.
Are you playing this year?
I'm actually not. And I miss it already. Like, I regret not playing this year. And that's only just because I needed to focus on just some career things. And here, the thing about fantasy football, it takes time. Like, you're looking at, draft sheets and DraftKings and Yahoo Sports, and you have to keep up with who's on who now. Like, you forget Jason Witten ain't a Cowboy no more. You know what I mean? You like, oh wait, I gotta pick a Raider.
What attracts you to fantasy? See, I love football, but I can't get into fantasy. What makes you attracted to
the thing about fantasy football is it makes you watch games differently because now you're rooting for teams that you probably would have never root for just for points.
See, that's to me, that's not pure football.
See,
that's like you put Brady on your team because you know he's gonna score, but
yes, ma'am.
I hate him even though.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but I could not pick him.
Yes, you would.
That's just not pure football. That's why I can't play it.
Let me tell you, and it's not. It is you putting all your ego and your egos aside, okay? For everything, because I promise you, if you can get Tom Brady as your quarterback, you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? And so it's about. Listen, I have had a lot of Eagles on my fantasy team, and a lot of Redskins too.
I don't hate the Cowboys. I just don't like most of the fans. You're an exception. So that's what I don't. I like Dak, but I think I can't. I can cheer for the Cowboys. But yeah.
Now that's definitely the draw with fantasy. Is it makes you. To me, I feel like it makes you a better sports fan. Seriously, because now sometimes you end up with players you don't know. Because if you have a certain league, the good players are going to go fast. So now you're looking at players that you might not know anything about. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, who's this? I can't even think of a name, but just some random name of some person that you ended up, the wide receiver that you ended up with, right?
I agree with that.
And you're watching them and you're like, oh, okay. I'm just going to use Allen Robinson, which I'm sure a lot of Bears fans probably know him. But, you end up with an Allen Robinson and it's like, who's this guy? I don't even really, like, with my number 2 teams, I follow them overall. I don't know them like I know my number 1 team, right? So now you're watching these teams and just like in more depth. And it's all about the points. But it's fun now. It's fun. And I'm telling you, fantasy is just like that Super Bowl where it's like week to week, you don't know who's gonna win. People perform differently.
That's true.
It's crazy. You gotta switch people in and out. So you have to pay really, really close attention to the game in order to do well in fantasy. Unless you're just gonna do auto draft, and that's no fun.
I understand, but I just can't get into it. And
Yeah,
people, because when I start talking about football and random players, they think I
yeah,
fantasy. I'm like, no, I just like
yeah.
so, but I can't get into
I
the.
mean, but you can get into it and just pick players that you like. I
No, it's
can do that.
so it just seems like you cheering for people, not teams, and it's just to me that's just sack football. Like it's like
Oh,
it's like I don't. Yes, I don't know. It's just
okay, but you're
I can't get into it.
that's a good
So,
point. That's a good point because there have been times where I've had like an eagle on my team that I need to get a lot of points, but I didn't want the Eagles to win.
like, 'cause if you have people, you might cheer for your player, you might cheer for your
Yeah,
offense, you might
yeah.
cheer your defense. So
Like I
it's just
want him to get 5 touchdowns, but then I need the other team to get like 6.
yeah. See, I just that just seems like sack football to me. I just can't get into it. Maybe one day, but
Yeah, you should try it. I think
not.
I think you'd like it.
Do you watch college football at all?
So rarely. I'm starting to get into it more. I think the past maybe 2 years, and honestly, I have to admit that you're part of the reason for that.
Me, really.
'Cause we've started, hanging out and watching football together, and because you're a Bama fan, right?
Roll Tide. That's right.
Yeah. So I think because of that, I've like caught a couple of their games. Now it's funny. Like I went to East Carolina, and we have amazing football atmosphere. So I went to a lot of football games in college, but for some reason, I just never got into the bigger aspect of college football. Well, let me back that up. It's probably because I lived in ACC country. So,
Yeah, y'all football.
Duke, Carolina.
Y'all are basketball, other than Clemson, maybe.
Yeah. So it's weird. Like, I'm a huge college basketball fan, right? So I watch college basketball over the NBA. I watch NFL over college football. Yeah. But I'm starting to just get into it a bit more now. Started watch depends on the players too. Like I recently started watching a bit more of Ohio State because of Zeke. Ohio State's been around forever. I know, but I didn't want to watch it before. But now,
I know Zeke, but yeah, I'm sorry. Zeke is too much. Anyway,
who's this amazing dude, and where did he come
it's too
from?
much.
You know?
Zeke is too much.
Listen,
Zeke is I didn't really watch. What I went to Florida A&M, so our football team was
yeah,
okay. HBCUs, we go to watch the band. Really, we want our team to win, but it's not.
yeah,
You really don't watch football the
yeah,
same way. Like I didn't watch football the same way I do now. I
yeah.
started watching college. My mother, which is really funny to me, used to watch college football on Saturdays. I thought she just had it on TV, but just by talking to her, she actually paid attention and actually knew about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of her, she was a counselor, so a lot of her students played football, and a couple of them actually went pro.
Nice.
So Victor Green, he used to play with the Jets. That's the one I remember that actually went pro.
Okay.
And they kept in touch. So I started paying attention a little bit, and on Saturday there's nothing on, so I started watching.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not as like on Sunday. I used to plan my day around like what time my team played. So, which I'm a little too busy now, but I have Sunday tickets so I can watch on my phone.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And I don't have to go to a bar to actually see the Eagles since they never play them here.
yeah.
So, what do you say to people who say you can't have number one, number two teams? And all that, like you're not a true fan.
I don't even listen to that garbage because I'm just like, I think it's a matter of personal opinion. And as you can hear my opinion, I just said it's garbage.
You tell me that all the
Because
time.
you can't have a number one and number two team. And to your point, I don't know if I don't know a lot of men who have a number one and number two team. But I feel like me and my female friends who enjoy sport, we have like one, two, and three. You know what I mean? And so I think it's okay because you have different reasons why you might love a team. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I have my reason for loving the Cowboys,
I still
but
don't. But
I
I know, but I still don't understand why you like the
love, but I love all things Chicago. So the Bears are Chicago. You know,
Yeah, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. But so you left the Carolina, you left them alone.
yeah, I left them alone. Plus,
See,
Cam was starting to get on my nerves.
he's gone anyway. So
Yeah, he gone now, but he won't
contagious
gone. He just
now.
left.
I
So
know, I know.
yeah,
I like Cam though.
I don't know. I go back and forth with him.
'Cause I'm like my number one team is the Eagles,
Yeah.
and I cheer for the Steelers because my dad and my brother is a diehard,
Hmm.
and my godson is a diehard Steeler fan.
Yeah.
They're everywhere, and the Saints, that's like my hometown team because Mississippi, we don't have a team, and that's the closest thing. It's 10 million.
Okay. Right. Right.
But I can't cheer for the Bears. I tried when I first moved here, but I really have no love for them. I mean, I don't hate them, but I really
What is it
care
about
less
the
to
Bears that
win.
you can't get behind?
I mean, when I first got here, I liked Forte. I loved Peanut.
Yeah.
What did I like?
See, I love Lovey.
Brandon. I couldn't stand Cutler though. But all of them are gone. So, and I
Okay.
don't really like none of the players now. I mean, are the coach, and I just can't really get into it. So,
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, not that I cheer against
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. But you answered your own question. You answered the question of like you have reasons why you love people just kind of based on like your life experiences, right?
Yeah.
So you have a reason for loving the Steelers and you have a reason for loving Nola. You know what I mean? So I think most women can get behind that. And we have, I think, I don't know if, well, I mean, men are definitely emotional when it comes to football, but I don't know. 'Cause I feel like what we're speaking about is emotional ties, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they need to have that many. Yeah. They got their one and done.
Yeah. And some of them get so upset. Like one of
Yeah.
my friends I used to watch football with, if his team lost, he wouldn't watch football the rest of the day. I'm
Oh no.
like, calm down. He acted like he was on the squad or something. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sit.
I'm like, let's let me look because Sunday after my team lost, I was like, just let me cheer against Brady, and they lost, so I was happy. So,
Oh my gosh.
so who do you think? I know it's early. Is gonna make it to the Super Bowl, or do you think we're gonna make it to the end of the season with COVID? I know most teams don't have fans, but I
Yeah.
heard Kansas City, which had fans like the opener,
Mm-hmm.
they had a small outbreak from some of the people that were at the game.
What?
Yes, they only had like 20% of,
It was like 17,000 people they
but
had.
I saw some article that said had a small outbreak and the people that were sitting in the area have to quarantine. So, but the other games I saw on Sunday, they didn't have fans.
Denver had some fans at their game. So I think that the season will go to the Super Bowl because it started. I do think that they're gonna stop with the fans, though. I do think they're gonna stop with that because unless the players start having an outbreak, which they're not,
They get tested.
right? Then there's no reason for them to not play. So, which kind of goes to our thing about football being more complicated, right? Because how cool is it that the NBA has been in this amazing bubble?
Mm-hmm.
But they can do that. You know what I mean? With the number of teams and the number of players per team. Like it's just not so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't even know where the NFL would do something like that.
I don't know, and I don't know how they could with so many players and
Yeah.
staff and
I mean, you have to use one stadium. Let me tell you, that Rams stadium, that new five
nice
billion,
from
man.
on television.
We have to go to a game there. Well, the
Yeah, I know.
Cowboys already played and
On
got
my list.
smashed there. So I'm sure Mr.
Mhm.
Jones said we had to be the first ones in that stadium to play that game with them just for us to get our booties whipped. But we have to go to a game there.
Yeah. So
But
many.
yeah, I think the season will go to the Super Bowl for
So who
sure.
you think's gonna make it? I mean, I know you want your team to make it, but realistically, who you think is actually
First
gonna
of
make it?
all,
I'm just saying.
it's not
Y'all think
realistic.
Cowboys think they're gonna win the Super Bowl every year.
Exactly.
So, I mean, realistically though, who
So,
you think is gonna make it?
let's see who I think is going to be there for the AFC because we know who's going to be there
Oh,
from the NFC.
whatever.
You know what? I'll do a number one and number two thing since we're good at it. All right. Number one in the NFC, the Cowboys will be in the Super Bowl.
Okay, I think so. Okay. Okay.
Number two, I'm gonna go with gosh, it's so early.
Yeah, but still,
I'm trying to
let's say preseason prediction, even though it's really not preseason,
see
but
you in
early
the
prediction.
preseason.
I know, but I'm just saying, but who you think's gonna make it? You never know. Even if it was half the season is over with, you still don't know who's gonna make it. That's why I love football.
Yeah, for
Any
sure.
given
All right, I'm gonna go with Seattle.
Okay. What about AFC?
Now, this is my overall prediction. Besides the Cowboys winning,
We're not talking about winning. I'm just telling you who's gonna make it there right now.
but
So
listen, I'm
we
giving,
all know you're biased. You're biased.
but listen, I'm giving myself a little leeway, right?
Uh-huh.
Because let's say Seattle make it.
Mm-hmm. Which it could.
I think that I'm gonna have to go with Chiefs is AFC, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think the Chiefs going back to the Super Bowl and then they gonna win again.
I don't. Oh, well, yeah. Maybe that's some of the commentators when I was watching,
Yeah, yeah.
season fiction. That was I
I,
don't think
they,
I think
you know,
they I don't know. I think it's gonna be out of them, out of who else in the AFC. Uh,
yeah, but I don't think Baltimore is gonna be.
but you never know. Like that's why I like football any given Sunday. Even though Kansas I think is a better team,
Yeah,
but
that's
you
true.
never know. You
Yeah,
never know. So in NFC, honestly think who's gonna make NFC? I don't. There's so many good teams in the NFC. Who would make it? I think Saints got a good chance of going back. I
listen,
think Breeze is tired of making it to the
and
playoffs. I think he gonna overcome.
No, ma'am. Next.
And who else would I pick in the NFC? I mean, you're biased. I'm actually objective because,
First of all, the Saints is your team.
no, that ain't my team is the Eagles. The Saints. I'm
They
just
in
thinking
your
of who
top
an
three.
NFC team could make it to the Seattle May.
Them Seahawks, Russell Wilson looking good.
Yeah, but like I said, so many factors in, especially
Yeah.
postseason. Depends on where they play too. Depends on where they play. So I'm thinking Saints or Seattle. My NFC picks.
Now,
AFC is Baltimore or Kansas, but who knows?
yeah, I'm
And
excited
who
to
knows
see
who will win? I don't
if
know.
our
But
prediction will be in the end.
I don't think it's gonna be an NFC. Honest, I don't think it's gonna be an NFC East team. But who knows at all?
One thing for sure, it ain't gonna be the Eagles. Just had to,
You never know. You never know. People didn't think we were gonna beat Tom Brady when we won the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? You
to
didn't get it Sunday. You never know.
Nick.
Why they play the game? That's why they play the game. But I have no idea what this season's gonna hold from
Yeah.
what I've seen so far, and who knows.
Do you think it's gonna affect them or make it better for them that there wasn't a preseason?
I think it's worse because they don't get the because you can tell from watching games on Sunday. Well,
Mm-hmm. Last week.
because people, I mean, they're rusty. People couldn't
Mm-hmm.
tackle, and
Mm-hmm.
then like Brady, which I'm glad they lost, but he was with a new team.
Yeah.
I was so
Yeah.
happy they lost. He was with a new team. I'm sure they're gonna be better than.
Yeah.
So that actually was a decent game, but
Yeah. I think you do realize. I mean, I always thought it was important, but preseason is important for people to get it together and start getting that.
mainly for like new players and rookies, and but although that Kansas City rookie, I forgot his name, that showed out when they played on last Thursday.
I didn't watch the game.
Got his name. It was a running
Most
back.
position.
He was a running back. He was good.
Mm.
Yeah, he's a running back. Do you have a favorite football player of all time? Who's your favorite football player of all time?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with like Emmitt Smith,
Why?
right?
I like him, but why?
Two reasons. I liked him on and off the field. So on the field, he was kind of like that precedent to these like hardcore, just mule running backs that we see now. You know what I mean? And so I just remember watching. I mean, and again, it just go back to the excitement of that team that won that Super Bowl. So I just felt like he had the most humble. Let me say this: the least cocky.
Out of the Cowboys,
He was the least cocky of
compare.
that team, but there was also, a humbleness about him, right? Because you're talking Emmett, Dion,
Whichever will
Michael,
be big,
Troy. You know
especially.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I just think from that team, his personality was my favorite player. And
Okay.
then when you see him now in life, and it's just kind of like, who has he continued to be since then? And so I love watching him and his relationship with his wife, him and Pat, and how they do their kids and their blended family. And then his walk in Christianity now, and how they're just so faith based, and just kind of like what they do to help other couples, and just kind of seeing them together, and hear their story. They've been through ups and downs, and she's been with him through, all his star football player shenanigans and stuff like that. But they're still together and they make it work. And so he's just somebody that I love on and off the field. That's why he's my favorite player of all time.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't have a favorite play. I can pick one. I mean, I love so many players for so many reasons, and
Yeah.
I was like, I had picked how many people I picked. Well, I love Walter Payton, even though
Okay.
I'm not a Bears fan, but he has a Mississippi connection, and I just like what he stood for. And even after he passed away, from Jackson State, because I'm from Mississippi, and
Mm-hmm.
his family, his foundation, he just seemed like an all around good guy, and then he was awesome on the field. And he went to HBCU and made it in the pros. I like that fact.
Yeah. And then for sure, I mean, it speaks to your character if you have a Man of the Year award named after you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. So yeah.
and I like Randall Cunningham. Eagles actually got him to sign my football when I went to the
Okay.
draft.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, that was pretty awesome. And Britt Favre, I really, even though I'm not a Packers fan,
Mm-hmm.
from Mississippi, and I always like the way he played. I like people who with heart, who like give it
Mm-hmm.
all on the
Mm-hmm.
field. I love, even though it's not football, basketball. I love AI. That's my guy.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
like will give 120%.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I love Dungy too. I just love what he stands for,
Yeah.
just coaching and his
Mm,
charity work, and he's just a good all around person.
yeah.
And Reggie White too, even though he's passed away, he's just a
Mm,
good all around person too.
yeah.
Charles Palomalo, I love him too. Actually, still, he's just hard too, and I like he just like he
He's
played in
pretty
his like
hard.
his
Mm,
faith too. I appreciate that, and
mhm.
me and my brother were supposed to go to the Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony this year, but of course,
Okay.
COVID. Because my brother is a diehard Steeler fan,
Steelers.
so he
Right,
said
right.
got in, he was gonna go. So, and he claimed he was gonna hook us up with some VIP little press passes and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well,
So,
listen, go on and get the extra one so I can be there whenever it happens. I'd be like, oh, the Steelers is my number 5 team. They'd be like, why?
the enshrinement ceremony is cool. I went. When did I go? 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. It would be lovely with VIP and to do the whole weekend. I just did
Yeah.
the ceremony and the speeches. It was pretty awesome.
So, okay, so speaking of VIP, when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, why didn't you go?
I was on my way to Japan to ski, and
I
actually I
remember that.
changed my flight and paid too much money to change it because I didn't want to be stuck on a plane because I didn't know if I could see it. Because I actually called the airlines to
I
see if they
remember.
were going to air.
I remember you on
So
your
I
way.
just changed my flight, and I was in California,
Yeah.
and I missed the well, and I don't know if I could afford it to go to Super Bowl anyway. But I would have went to parade, but I still was in Japan, so I missed
Yeah,
all that.
that's
But I
right.
saw the game, so I was happy. But
Yeah.
so yes, that's where I was.
See, I feel like I would charge it.
I looked last year. I think the cheapest seats, and these were nosebleeds.
The nosebleeds are like $5,000.
Well, I think they were more. They were like I thought they were more than that when I looked. And this was last
Probably.
year. They were higher last year than the year before last. And I'm like, I couldn't afford that. But
Listen, I'm just gonna be around here rolling up pennies, okay?
and that trip was like a trip of lifetime too. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Japan is,
I missed it. I missed the day, I should say. Question for you: if you could meet and talk to any present day player, who would it be and why? Present day player.
present.
Somebody still in the league.
I'm really trying to think about this. Um, present day player. I'm running the people in my mind. Run through the teams in my mind. And I'm seriously trying to pick a non-cowboy. Like I'm purposely picking a non-cowboy in my mind.
Whatever you want. See, my person, you would be surprised after I tell you.
I feel like I can guess who your person is gonna be. So I'm gonna tell you, I won't guess.
No idea who you're not guessing in 10 million years who my person is.
Because you saying present day player. All right,
Okay.
give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me just think.
Present day.
I'm going to go with honestly the most curious person. It's it's a tie.
Okay, that's good.
The first one would be Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I really love Russell Wilson. I mean, just his personality. He played at NC State for like a half a second.
Mm-hmm. He played baseball for a minute too.
Yeah, and just how he is able to, he has a consistent personality.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm always looking at like off the field too, right? And so again, knowing that marriages aren't perfect, relationships aren't perfect, but him and Sierra together are just like
So cute. They're just so
it's
cute.
amazing. And I think part of it is that I just want him to bring win.
Oh,
I'm like, I want to meet you, but I also want to meet Win. It's just already so adorable. You know what I mean? That would be a dream of mine to like go to their house post COVID and just like sit and talk to them and just talk about like football and like what it takes and how he prepares and stuff like that. And then actually my other person would be it would have to be Tom Brady.
mm-hmm. Why?
Because let me tell you, it's like how do you granted Belichick being the coach, but what does it take to be a leader to win that many times with so much different personnel?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you, as the leader, manage that, right? When really you're the consistent person,
Mm-hmm.
basically, you
Yeah.
and your coach.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a business thing, right? Like, even though it's football, but just like in business, it's like, how do you build something that is going to be
Long lasting.
honestly and consistent and legendary?
Mm-hmm.
We have so many moving parts. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, those would be my two.
So who would you think I would pick? I'm just
I was
curious.
gonna say
Who?
Dak Prescott.
Why? No, you are you kidding? You're kidding, right?
I am kidding.
Now, who would you really think, though? I'm just curious.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I was just kidding.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, see, as funny, I would pick Tom Brady too, even though I hate him. I've hated him. I've hated him since when I was in grad school. When they came up with the tuck rule, that game. I've hated Tom Brady since then, and they beat the Raiders and they shouldn't have. I hated him since then. But I would love to feel like he's not perfect, but he's like over the years, it's like he wins and he
Yeah.
wins and he's consistent. And I would like to know like how he prepares and how
Mhm.
over the years and his body's aging and
Yeah.
he's still winning different ways. And I would just want to know how like he goes about that whole process, the whole just his whole training, his whole mindset
Mhm.
to win. I see.
We are kindred spirits.
Same.
We both Tom Brady. We can get a twofer.
Even though I hate him,
Maybe we
but
can get him on the squad.
so who you think will have a better season, Brady or Belichick?
Oh, Belichick.
You think so overall?
Yes, ma'am. He is definitely key.
See, I don't know. I don't know, even though they lost. I don't know yet.
Because
So who
Belichick got a
who
system.
did they play Sunday anyway? I don't remember.
Who did they play?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
child, probably lying.
Was it Miami? I can't remember, but
I mean,
I don't know. I think Brady's gonna have a better season actually.
we're gonna see.
So we're gonna see. So another question.
Yeah.
Doug Williams, when he won the Super Bowl in 1988 as the first African American football player, did you see the game? And if so,
No.
see, I saw the game, and I remember the moment when they won. They beat Denver Broncos, and there's supposed to be a documentary. I'm not
Coming
sure. I mean, it's supposed to be by Will Packer, who went to school with me. I put a plug in there.
out.
You broke before they hit him. But it's supposed to be a documentary about him, which I'm excited to see because he actually being the first in 1988, which is like I would consider it should have been earlier than that, considering how long football's been around.
Oh yeah.
The fact that he's still in football, and I guess worked for the Redskin in the front office now. I think it's a pretty impressive story. Can't wait to see his documentary.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Do you watch like the Football Life
well,
and
I take
yeah?
football life even when I can't see it. I take football life and then I text my brother and my godson because my godson, even though he wasn't around, of course,
Mhm.
he'll watch it on like YouTube, especially if it's like a Steeler person.
So, with that being said, what was your favorite episode?
My favorite episode. There's so many. What was my favorite episode?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me think.
Because we kind of got a theme going here, and I'm gonna tell you who mine is.
Who was my favorite? Let me think. I think who was my favorite? Probably was like me, John Green with the Steelers.
See, now I'm gonna have to go back to Belichick because I felt like I'm like, who is this dude that is like stone, like on Sunday? You know what I mean? Like, sit up there doing press conferences, no inflection in his voice, nothing. And
We're
to
gonna get ready for next week.
right, and to see like his whole life and like his family and his house and him on the boat, I'm like, okay, this guy, he got a little, you could, because you're like, is he a loner? Like who, but it was good to see him in his personal element. And that was like one of my favorites.
Well, he reminds me, even though they're different people, but Nick Saban is like that with college football. He's like, well, you would say he has a dynasty. And even when people
But
ask
yeah,
like random stuff, he's like, let's talk about the game. It's just like he's just so focused into
yeah.
winning, which I can appreciate greatness, even though people hate on Nick Saban. Not me, because I'm a Bama fan, but I appreciate
I
greatness.
don't know
Even
why.
though I may hate it, I've been a Bama fan since Mark Ingram won the Heisman.
Okay.
And I wasn't even like since he won the Heisman, and I was like, I started following Bama.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I still cheer for him. He's still with Baltimore. What are your best football memories? Like game or just a memory? Could be unrelated to football. Game could be an experience.
Best football
Game
memory.
that you were actually there, game and a memory. It's two separate things. Or they could be the same. If the game was your favorite memory.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to again back to those '95 Cowboys when we won that Super Bowl, right? Because here I am, like I said, dating this guy, and that's his team, and like I'm learning the game through him, and then that ends up in a Super Bowl win, like that. Watching and cheering for my team, right, in the Super Bowl and them winning, to me, that was definitely my most exciting moment. And it just propelled me
That's
from
what made it
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what we all go for in the end, right? Is that championship, right? So even though I haven't had it since, that was listen, I'm still riding on that. Favorite,
and the rest of the Cowboy fans of the world.
yeah, I know, right? Favorite game. I feel bad for anybody who's been a fan since after that, or became a fan after. Favorite game is definitely probably going to be, my first time in the old Cowboy Stadium.
The old one.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the new Jerry's World
No, because it was my first
game.
stadium game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I don't remember who we played, but I just remember that experience of like, wow, how different football is live than on TV.
Yeah. It's so different.
Ain't no playbacks. Ain't no announcer telling you what just happened.
I
Ain't
know.
no Tony
We
Romo.
gotta pay attention. Unless you watch, unless they
Right,
have throwback on the
right.
screen.
Tony Romo's not there to be like, now watch out for this.
I know
Because I feel like he is like a
the
psychic
best. He's the best commentator,
sportscaster.
even though I was not a fan as a quarterback. But he is the best commentator.
He's amazing. He's amazing.
He is.
I feel like he's like psychic. He's like, oh, this is about to happen. And it happens.
Yeah.
you know, those are my top two. And then after that, honestly, I enjoy like going to the games like with my friends and those memories of like I look when the schedule comes out now, like not this year, but like I look to see when the Eagles and the Cowboys are gonna play, and then we text each other and we're like, okay, are we gonna go to the game? Like, are we going to Dallas? Are we going to Philly? Like, we try to go New Year. But I like looking forward to. I like the memories of like going to the games. My cousin is an Eagles fan, so
Yes.
I enjoy those times with like my friends who have those rival teams, and then like we go to the games together. Those are my favorite.
My favorite game was when we played the Bears in the playoffs. Was it 2019? Where
Okay.
Cody he missed the field goal in like 10 seconds, the game was over. And I'm like, we're not gonna win this game. I'm like, he's gonna make the field goal, and he
Yeah.
didn't. Everybody around me was like sad, and I was like, and my friend texted me like, get out of the stadium. I'm like, they're nice here. They're not gonna That was my favorite game. That was actually
Okay. Yeah, that's exciting.
that was fun, even though we lost. Yeah, 2019. And my favorite member, I have a few. Like first time I went to Mike and Mike, I love Mike and Mike. I hate the show just ended.
Yeah.
When the drafts, all the NFL drafts were fun. All the ones in Chicago and the one in Philly was really nice.
Yeah.
And I took my godson to his first football game. It was one of my favorite memories too. So When the Steelers played the Saints, I took him to a playoff game. That was the second time. The first football game ever he went to was, I forget who New Orleans was playing. He wasn't as excited as when we went to the playoff. That was
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Christmas present, and it was a surprise, so he was excited.
Oh, it was a Christmas present. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your football fantasies? Like Super Bowl is one of mine.
I was like, oh. I was like, wait, what? What question is this?
Yeah, I'm talking about, like
I was
like on your bucket list of
like,
football. Like I want to go back to the Hall of Fame, VIP style.
oh, gotcha. I
I
was
want
thinking,
to go to all the major stadiums in the or the major in the USA. Like those are my football fantasies. You taking that
I was like,
from me.
oh, me back on the beach. Oh, definitely Super Bowl. Super Bowl for sure. And honestly, again, just being a fan, it doesn't necessarily have to be my team. You know what I mean? But just to be able to go to Super Bowl would
I
I
want to
think
go
would
with my team if
be
I take
an amazing. Well, hopefully somebody else. Maybe we can figure out some way to get some other tickets fixed somehow. But I think that would be amazing to go to. And then definitely the Hall of Fame. I haven't been there.
You gotta go. I love it. I want to go. Seattle.
And then here too, I'm also a stadium person, right? So I definitely want to go to a home Seahawks game. I want to go to a Green Bay game in the winter. I definitely want to go to that new Ram Stadium.
Me too. I want to go to Atlanta too. Mercedes.
And then I want to go to a Saints game and tailgate. And I think those are really my only four as far as dream. Rams, Seattle,
LA.
LA. I wouldn't mind a Chiefs game because I have a family member who is a huge Chiefs fan. Like he's been a Chiefs fan, nowhere near bandwagon, nowhere near. And so I wouldn't mind going to the Chiefs games with him because I heard those were fun.
That
Those,
was fun. I went in November last year.
yeah,
It wasn't like dead on winter. It was 50 degrees. It was
yeah,
awesome. And we won too. So it was like the best. My cousin I felt bad for her because she's a Green Bay fan. But oh, it was God. And then we took a tour of the stadium. It was really fun.
yeah. So I would definitely want to do that. So those would be my fantasies.
It was really fun. If you had a son, would you let him play football? I know there's a lot of controversy now with concussions and
Yeah,
CTE and all that.
for sure. But I don't know. I don't know how this would come to be or how I can make this work. But it's kind of like there would only be like certain people I want him to play for,
Mm-hmm.
and he would
No, I'm
definitely
talking about not play for. You talking about NFL. I'm talking about football from Pee Wee to
no, no,
high school
no.
to
I'd be like, no, because here's the thing with Pee Wee. Because here's the thing: some of these NFL players have like camps, right,
yeah,
for different ages and stuff like
yeah.
that. I'd be like, no, you got to go to so and so training camp before you can get out here with these little Pee Wee people. No, no. It would have to be like already starting with how to properly tackle and stuff like that. I think Gruden runs a camp that people talk about for kids that's like really good about like really how to play really safe, safe football.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Gruden. Don't quote me though. So I say all that to say is that I would want to make sure my son was playing for someone who really took like safety precautions with football.
That makes sense.
Right. And not just like
Trying to win the game.
wear and tear. And then also I don't to your point, I don't think I would want him to play Pee Wee.
Okay.
And I know it starts early, but if he was really interested, there are other things you can do early on, like to prepare your body, right? For like
Yeah, I mean others. But like most people who make it to the pros
Yeah,
play multiple sports because you get all these
exactly.
injuries from just playing one,
Right.
like these overuse injuries from playing one sport,
Exactly.
especially year round.
So maybe we start with like soccer,
Or baseball, or
baseball,
yeah,
track, you
yeah.
know.
Track is good 'cause you be fast.
Yeah, exactly. Then you move into other things. But I would. And I like what the companies like the Nikes of the world are doing as far as like, you know, safety protocols with like the helmets and the equipment. And, now they're just not making like assembly line equipment anymore. Like it's to that athlete body, physique, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's specific to them. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is not their helmet just because they grabbed it off the rack and it's their helmet, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they've been fitted for their
Mm-hmm.
equipment. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that helps with the safety too.
If you could play professional football, what position would you play?
Center. That's all I,
Why? You like what?
that's all I got. Snaps.
That's all you got to snap. See, I would want to be a corner. I want to hit people, but I want to be fast. Like, because you got to be fast to catch them, and then I want to intercept and be able to, make pick six.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. All I got is snaps. I can't be messing with none of this. Man, these jokers be hitting hard and fast.
I want to hit people.
See,
I want to hit people.
no.
I want to hit
Other
people.
than that,
I get fined.
right. Listen, and I can't think about it now. Who's the one that positions the ball when they snap it for the kicker?
Oh, really? I don't even know what the actual name is.
I know Tony Romo did that one game. I don't even know their position. You know what I'm talking
I
about?
don't know that. Yeah, I know, but I don't know the name of that person.
I'm there for that too. I'm
See, I wouldn't want to do that either, though.
Mm-mm. I'm here for that.
Sometimes the punter does that because sometimes the punter does that. Because I remember when I went to this Bears football ladies thing, punter was talking about how he sometimes held the ball for the kicker, which I don't know if that was just a couple of times or what, but
Yeah.
man, I thought it was interesting. What's
I,
your favorite? Go ahead.
no, what's my favorite word?
Football movie. Do you have one?
I don't have one. Favorite football movie? I don't have one.
Yeah, I like Remembering Titans, but it's a football movie, but it's sad and it's Denzel. But I
Yeah.
like Concussion. It's sad, but I thought Will Smith did a great job in that movie,
Yeah.
and it was very informative and educational, and it really fascinated me.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick now, I would say any given day, any given
Any Given
Sunday.
Sunday, I love that movie too.
Yeah, any given Sunday would
Just
probably be.
because
And then, Jerry Maguire.
I like the quotes from Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, that movie was funny. That showed me the money is classic.
Yeah, yeah, that's true though. That's true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They played them parts.
They did.
But
They
yeah,
did.
but yeah, definitely any given Sunday. And those are the two that come to mind that I can watch over and over again.
Yeah, which I might have to watch that again. Actually,
Yeah. And they're both funny, you know what I mean?
yeah, I need to laugh.
Yeah. Watch that
Hmm.
today.
So, any last minute words before we end today about football and your love of football?
Last minute words.
I hope I want to go to a game this year. I know COVID and all, but I really want to go to one football game. It doesn't really even matter who plays. I just want to go to a football game. It could be a Bears game. It could be. I
Yeah.
just want to go to a football game.
What conditions would you go under though? Now, so let's talk about that football and COVID. Like, what would it take for you to go to the game? So I've heard different things. Like, so for example, like in Kansas, they did like the pods. I'm curious to see what the Cowboys are gonna do because Jerry's like
They
people.
gonna have fans. I mean, ultimately.
We
I
gonna
mean,
have.
I mean, the COVID in Texas is bad. I mean, just
Listen,
in general.
Jerry Jones said we having fans, so I'm curious to see how they're gonna do it. But what would it take you? Like, what would you want to see
Or I go to a game.
to
I
go?
mean, it would need to be like 10% capacity,
Okay.
and I need to be around people I know. I mean, I don't want to be around random people because that'll make me nervous. And people need to have them on masks. Outside is probably better than say a dome, no, just
Mhm.
because. Like Soldier Field
Mhm.
in Kansas City, I thought about when I saw people. I mean, it seemed like the people that were together, but like coming in and and
Mhm.
that part and going to your seats if it's a crowd, because even though it's only 20%, that's still a lot of people. Like in
For
Kansas City.
sure. There was still 17,000 people. That's still a lot of people.
So the domes would scare me. Like Georgia, I guess they could open the roof, but
Mhm.
like New Orleans dome and then all the domes around here. So like Minnesota has a dome. I would want to go to a dome. I would want to go to outdoor something.
Gotcha. Last football words. No, I would just say, thank you for this conversation. It was interesting to kind of talk it out and really talk about like why you love things. To your point, it's the ultimate team sport. It's just so faceted, and it's just one of the things that it's nice just to not have to think about it and just enjoy something. I think that we're both in careers where we work so hard, like many people, and I think that's just what the love of sports is all about, anyway. Right? It's entertainment.
It's a break from life, even though
It's
it's in and out.
entertainment, and it's great to cheer and have that anxiety and that back and forth and for the love of the game. It's good. It makes it a good day when your team wins. So
It does.
yay
It
football.
really does.
Yay football.
So another question, which is random.
Yeah.
Would you date or be serious about someone who didn't like football? I say
Yeah.
no, but I never say never. But anyway,
So I'm gonna say yes. Only if, but see here's yes, but
we have to let you watch it.
he got to be okay with me watching it. He got to be okay with me watching it. He got to be okay with me going to the games with my girls. He got to be okay with me like being like, okay, I'm going down here to meet so and so at the bar for the game. Like, if you're gonna try to stifle me and my love of it, then that's not gonna happen. And I think the reverse is true for women who have men that like their game. Like, you gotta let those people have their time. I mean,
I agree.
if you're not into it, then that's on you. So I'm okay with it. But I love for him to enjoy it with me. Absolutely. But I have enough friends that love it. That's one thing that I could not do with my spouse, and I'd be okay with it.
Sure. I mean, I can watch football by myself and be happy, but
Yeah. But don't have no attitude when I ain't coming home. Don't be listen. It's gonna be some rules around Sunday football in the house, just so he know. Like, dinner time will not be when the Cowboys are playing.
and
So
don't touch my remote control if you think it's not gonna be on the
you
show.
gonna be paying, and you gonna be paying for Sunday ticket, like so. Hey, that's my only thing with that. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. This is so awesome. So awesome. I can't wait to hear your other guests and your other topics and the things that you guys talk about. This is exciting.
Thank you. Thank you.
And see, you know what? It goes with your theme. Watching football is cheaper than therapy.
That's so true.
And on that note, my dear, so good talking to you today.
That wraps up this episode of Running is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Please, if you already haven't, download Running is Cheaper Than Therapy podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or however you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you have any questions, comments, or possible show topics, please email runningischeaperthanTherapy, OLB, Omaha Love Brown @gmail.com. Again, that is Running is Cheaper Than Therapy, O as in Omaha, L as in Love, B as in Brown @gmail.com. Dr. Brown can also be reached via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Handle We OUI Life LIVE, We OUI Love LOVE. Again, We OUI Life LIVE, We OUI Love. Thank you, and please tune in again.